Ready? All right. 3, 2.
Hi, welcome to the Fifth Wheel.
You didn't say one.
Hey guys, welcome to the Fifth Wheel podcast.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Sydney.
And special guest Shelby.
Whoop whoop. Yay, we did it.
Woof, woof.
So, for those who have poor memories, this Shelby that we are speaking to is my sister. We've mentioned her probably nearly every episode at this point.
She's my sister too now, by the way.
Honestly, yeah.
Wait, yay!
But she called me right as we were starting to film, and so I thought that this would be really funny. She'll probably be an actual guest at some point, but she's on her way to go play pickleball, so
Yeah.
that day is not today. Shelby, would you like to leave us with any parting thoughts?
Monaco, I'm jumping ahead here. Really fear for what this weekend will bring. I really don't know whether to be scared or excited. So maybe the Ferrari will just come alive on the streets of Monaco. But go Williams!
Go Williams!
I like it. It wouldn't be Monaco without a little bit of delusion.
No, never. And also, it's my birthday, so extra delusion.
Yeah. I feel like I'm just listening to it right now, Because normally I get the dialogue anyway.
This is actually really fun.
Yeah.
But anyways, thanks for joining us for our intro. We'll have you as a guest at some point for realsies.
Yeah.
I would hope so. I know where you live, both of you.
You know, it is true.
That's totally fair.
That is a threat. Okay, well, enjoy your pickleball. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, love you both.
Love you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, whoops. I love her so much.
That was so fun. I'm so glad we did that.
I am too. She started calling me, and I was like, "Oh no, this is perfect timing."
It is perfect.
All
right. Well.
Anyways, yeah.
Here we are.
We're
here.
Honestly, what should have been a terrible weekend after Saturday was a great weekend come Sunday.
It was. I really love the Formula 1 AWS Gran Premio del Made in Italy dell'Emilia-Romagna 2025.
Oh, so Imola.
Yeah. It's my favorite race. I actually started to write down last year's name on accident, which is the Formula 1 MSC Cruises Gran Premio del Made in Italy dell'Emilia-Romagna. But this year, instead of MSC Cruises, it's AWS, Amazon Web Services.
Okay. So fun fact. Anytime I see AWS, I think A&W root beer.
Yeah.
Because my brain just sees the A and the W, and it's like, yes, root beer. And then I'm like, oh, no, Amazon.
I think that's an appropriate reaction.
Right? I mean, and honestly, AW root beer, what's your favorite root beer? A&W or what is the other one? The is it Barks?
Barks is what I grew up on because it was in the soda fountains of every restaurant that my mom would take me to. But I'm not picky on root beer.
Okay.
I'm just happy about it.
Was it Barks over in your kitchen?
I think it's actually A&W.
A&W?
I think it's A&W Zero. But the only thing is I don't love like pure cane root beer, like BJ's has like their homemade root beer. Like I hate it when it tastes like super, super sugary.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it tastes sweet, but like you could tell when it's made with like real cane sugar, and I don't like that.
Then it's too sweet.
It's too much. And it takes a lot to be too sweet for me because I have the biggest sweet tooth anyone's ever said. I've got a sweet buck tooth. Like it's crazy. But I don't know. So I'm not picky except for that.
You know those fake teeth that you used to get from you put a quarter in the machine and it was like the weird little like mouthpieces, and then there was the one that had the big old buck teeth.
That's my sweet tooth.
That's what I pictured.
And that's what you should picture.
And so that was, you were talking, and that's all I could see.
It's a dental anomaly.
You're using our big words today.
Hey, I have big words normally. What's wrong with my big words now?
No, it's just funny.
I'm getting criticized left and right today, y'all. Sydney comes over. Parker starts hounding me and just messing with me. And then I ask him.
Well, that's his default.
That's his default. And he brings
lovingly
in a cookie. He's like, are you going to eat this or I'm going to throw it away? I was like, I'm going to eat it. And he sets it down. and I pick it up to hand it back to him and say, like, oh, hey, like, we're about to start filming. Do you mind putting this back in the kitchen? But before I can even get to, hey, we're about to start filming, he goes, like, he was like, it's been in there forever. And he starts, like, going off on me. And I was like, Sydney, back me up here. And she was like, well.
I think y'all were both playfully snarky with one another, but then didn't realize you were
he turned real snarky on me.
Okay. Maybe a little. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, the aggressively long Imola Grand Prix name, like, thank God we can call it Imola, because who the hell is gonna remember that?
Not me, and I have a lot of big words.
You do have a
anomaly.
But that's probably my favorite.
Anomaly's not that big of a word
compared to some of the ones we sort of use correctly on this podcast,
and a lot, especially the ones we use incorrectly, like finship.
yeah.
I love that one.
I know, it's one of my favorites.
I was gonna say, that wasn't making fun of you. That's like a compliment. It's a great word.
I'm bad at words.
Bad at words.
But yeah, no, my favorite meme is probably of Imola, because the name is always just aggressively long, is the one where it's Phoebe and Joey from Friends.
Oh, yeah.
When Phoebe's trying to teach Joey French, and then, you know, they go through the whole thing, and then it says the name correctly. Imola. But yeah, no, it was a fun race weekend.
It was very interesting. Like, I've always liked Imola. It's fine. It's great. But
R.I.P.
I know. Well, we don't know that for sure.
I'm pretty sure it's not coming back.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, this was a great race weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it rumored that they're not gonna re-sign? It's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's discrimination against
It's
Italians.
also really not fair, because that's the one that we wanted to go to next year.
Again, it's discrimination against Italians. Like,
right? You're a little more Italian than I am, but I still have a good chunk of Italian.
Like, it's discriminating both of us because we both want to go.
I know. Any Italian power. So you remember earlier today how I was talking about how my body reacted before my brain decided on an action?
That happened again.
I think that was one of those moments. Yeah, I'm really upset that, I mean, I'm not really upset that we may not get to go to Imola, because we're still going to go to a race in Europe next spring. But
I wanted it to be Imola.
I wanted it to be.
I met someone this weekend who went to Imola like 2 years ago, and he said it was cheaper than going to Dakota.
Oh, well, remember, I looked at, because I was curious, I looked at what ticket prices are. Their GA was €90.
Oh, yeah. It was like, to go, like, get like a paddock tour, it was like $1,000.
Yeah. Well, in mid-level, like, grandstand seats or mid-tier grandstand seats, I think were the price of Coda GA.
Yep.
So I'm hopeful. I mean, I think our backups are Madrid, maybe Spa.
Yeah, but hopefully Madrid, because it'd be cool to go to the first Madrid race.
I think we should probably just lock in. No, it would. I'm so excited for us to go to a European race.
Yes.
So Parker, Hannah, my sister, and I were
who you just met.
We're planning to go, and I think it's gonna be so fun.
We gotta have Parker in here one time.
Yeah.
Not today, though. He's
not
busy.
Today. He is busy. He's cleaning.
It's his
He's
cleaning
playing
day.
Mr. Husband.
Mr. Husband?
I don't know what I was gonna say, Mr. Mom, but I guess your child is toast. And then my brain started singing the country song, Mr. Mom. I think it's called Mr. Mom. But then
how did Mr. Husband happen? Also, Mr. Mom is implying that women share the majority of household workload, which is true.
It was
and
a country song from like the 90s.
Bigotry. Another big word. Hey, it's a big word. Bigotry. Get it? Huh?
I'm gonna go home.
I'm doing really good today.
It's so funny, and I'm mad.
Why are you mad that I'm funny? Are you pissed off our whole friendship then? I'm hilarious. I don't get it.
I don't think either of us have the brain cell today.
I feel like I've got all the brain cell today. Like, all the big words I'm saying.
We really truly don't do ourselves any favors doing these on Mondays.
No, that's fun.
You even said yesterday we could film. But then we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
Y'all were cleaning.
We needed to get that done.
Yeah.
We cleaned out the whole kitchen.
It was impressive. I just sat there and watched like a supportive friend.
She was moral support.
I was.
Great.
I feel like I helped settle a few should we keep this debates.
Mm-hmm. There was a couple that were like, Sydney, what do you think?
And I was like, y'all don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also kept asking me every single item that they were getting rid of if I wanted it, which one, very nice, and I was appreciative of it. But two, I'm fixing to move and I'm also purging items.
Yeah, but like if you needed something for your new place.
I have so many cups.
Yeah, and we were getting rid of so many cups. We were getting rid of mostly cups.
They were mainly cups.
They were mainly cups.
But anyways, so
Imola. How many minutes has it been? Like probably like 10?
I don't know. But I'm having a great time.
I'm having a fantastic time too. These are always the best episodes when we just kind of go off and do our own thing.
Lost the plot. I feel like we lost the plot with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but yeah, no, okay, Friday. Can we talk about the fact? So one, this was Kimi Antonelli's first home race.
Yeah.
He literally, I think they said he was born, not far from, like he was from that region in Italy. He brought his entire school class to the track and the paddock on Friday.
They were playing soccer, like in the paddock, and oh my god!
Like he was explaining stuff to them, taking them through the paddock. Like it was
a field trip.
It was a field trip, and it just was so wholesome because I mean we've talked about it and we've poked fun at the fact that he's quite literally been in school on the weekends between races, but for someone like. He didn't have to do that.
I know. It seems like they got Thursday and Friday off from school because of it, too.
Probably. I mean, by that point, it might as well be a national holiday for that school.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was really cool. And even more hilarious that he got an entire class of Italians to wear Mercedes gear.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
All of them have probably been raised Ferrari fans.
This is just for Kimi.
Plug the Will Buxton quote of in Italy there are two religions, the Catholic Church and Ferrari.
Yeah.
And he got this entire group of Italians to wear Mercedes gear.
Yep.
Honestly, pro move by Kimi Antonelli.
Honestly, it was. It was a statement, but in a good way.
I know.
It was a statement of support for Kimi.
That was really, it was just, I remember seeing that while I was working on Friday, and it was just a cute little like heartwarming moment.
It was wholesome.
It was.
I don't know if this was from this weekend. It probably wasn't, but I saw the funniest video, and I had never seen this if it wasn't from this weekend. And it was someone interviewing Oscar, and this is like kind of unrelated, but like it just reminded me of it. Like I saw it like while I was working. I was like, is that from this weekend? But it was saying like, how awesome would it be if Lewis Hamilton won his first year in Ferrari? And Oscar goes, what are you talking about? No, it wouldn't. Like, cause like, hey, like,
like I'm not on his team.
Yeah, exactly. And he said it just like that. He was like, what are you talking about? No.
And I mean, if we're counting sprints, he already has.
Yeah. Well, I think he meant like the world championship.
Oh, well.
I don't know how that's gonna go unless Ferrari does a cha-cha na-yao and turns around. I don't think anything's gonna happen.
It looks pretty good.
Thank you.
And I'm like, cha-cha real smooth.
Cha-cha na-yao. And they turn it out,
Turn it out.
They'd have to do a turn it out.
Take it back to the factory, please.
Yes.
The car.
They'd have to do a turn it out and let's go to work. So a whole 180.
No kidding.
So.
Yeah, because, Saturday rolls around. Honestly, it was a crazy qualifying.
It was. You know more about it than I do.
Yeah, so because I think qualifying started at like 9. I don't know. I didn't set an alarm. I woke up. Qualifying was still on. And I didn't pay that. I mean, it was only 9:45. So it's normal. Qualifying is usually about an hour. Mm-hmm. But then as I'm watching qualifying and skipping through when they put commercial breaks or in between Q1, Q2, right? And then it's long. And anytime qualifying is longer than an hour, some shit went down.
Something happened.
And honestly, it did.
There was an incident.
Q1, Yuki had probably the worst crash that we've seen. I think I would honestly say since Joe Guan Yu or Checo's Monaco crash. I would say violence of it on par with
And
Joe's.
It looked almost identical to Joe's the way it flipped into the fence.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I think he caught the curb and his car swung. It was like he hit the barrier, his car flipped over, sailed through the air for a second, and then somehow landed right side up.
After hitting the fence.
Like,
there's way too many contacts here.
And at first, I remember when it happened, like, watching it, I was like, that car is messed up. And they cut to his onboard camera, and it cuts the second you see the car flip. And I go, oh no.
I thought he was dead.
Well, yeah. Well,
or like hospitalized.
But that's what's crazy is he was up and out of the car before they showed the replay. So he walks away from this crash that, you know, I think something should be said to the safety standards that F1 has reached today, because, you know, honestly, 10 years ago, that's a crash he wouldn't come back from.
Nope. The Halo saved 2 motorsport lives this weekend.
Yes.
Like, specifically the Halo.
Oh my gosh.
The other one was Scott McLaughlin.
The IndyCar driver.
Genuinely, there was like a video of like just how long it was and how long was he skidding on the Halo. Like,
yeah,
right
his
where
car
his
flipped and basically like followed the outside of the track.
It just kept going and going. It went for like at least a quarter mile.
It was crazy.
And so the Halo genuinely like has, even before this weekend, it saved many lives. We've seen it. It saved Joe's life. It saved so many people's. But this weekend, it did it like 2 times, and it was terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, and it was the fact that, you know, so it was Yuki had gotten out of the car, and then they show the onboard, and I said, did this car flip and this man is already out of the car?
Mm-hmm.
And then they show the just normal camera view, and I sat there for a second and just almost just shock and awe that, I mean, he got up and out like nobody's problem. Like, it was, he didn't just have a violent crash. Like, it was one of those, whatever G's he pulled crashing triggered the sensors. And so they like, you know, when they have a high enough or an intense enough crash, they make them get in the medical safety car and then they go get looked at.
Yeah. Well, it says a lot that Max, like when driving around, all of the drivers were like, is he okay? Is he okay? And Max in an interview was like, I asked my team, is he okay? And they were like, yeah, he's good. But then I saw a video of the crash and I re-asked them, like, are you sure he's okay? Like,
that's what Liam did the same thing of, he saw, because a lot of times, especially when a session's been red flagged, they're going slow enough that they can see the screens. And Liam goes, I just saw the video. Is he okay?
Yeah.
And
it was
just
bad.
It was crazy. And that wasn't even the only crash of qualifying. So that happened, I think, Q1. And then Q2, poor old Franco Colapinto, he wasn't as violent of a crash, but he crashed pretty bad.
Yeah.
And
his first day back.
Yeah.
Soda Bean.
So poor Soda Bean. Yeah.
Couldn't handle the pressure.
But I mean, his crash didn't, you know, I mean, they're all a little different, but it wasn't near as violent looking as Yuki's. But even still, he was shaky getting out of the car.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. I think we often forget just how fast the cars are going unless you're there in person. Like, there is no video I've ever seen. There's been a couple that have gotten kind of close, but there's basically no video I've ever seen that accurately depicts how fast they are actually going. And so to crash at that speed, even like on the corners, like the corners they're going like 70 or 80 miles an hour
on some of the fast corners.
Yeah. And so it's like, hey, like if we crashed our cars at that speed, we'd probably be dead.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's just crazy. So that it was there hadn't been a bad crash light. I feel like there's since probably Checo and Monaco, and it was violent.
It was bad.
And just a good reminder of, you know, I don't think I've ever really forgotten how dangerous that sport is for those drivers. But, you know, seeing it in play like that, it was nuts.
It was crazy.
So I think that was, Yuki crashed in Q1, Franco crashed in, I think, Q2. And, well, we had those couple of crashes. And, you know, Italian race in Italy. Really want Kimi, home race, Ferrari, you know. There's a whole bunch of Italians there. Yeah, well, you want to know what happened in Q2?
Not the Italians.
Not the Italians.
No.
Both Ferraris and Kimi Antonelli knocked out in Q2.
You know who didn't knock out in Q2? Lance Stroll.
Yes.
It's like the meme of, in We're the Millers when it's like, I'm only getting paid $50K for this. You're getting paid $50K? I'm only getting $10K. And then the guy is like,
Wait, your guys are getting paid?
It's like, man, I got knocked out in Q3. Like, oh man, I got knocked out in Q2. It's like, there's a Q3.
Lance Stroll. Wait, there's a Q3?
There's a Q3.
He found it at the expense of the Ferraris.
I love the meme, and I think I said this last episode, and if not, I need to say it again. And if so, I need to say it again. It's like how Lance Stroll is driving this season, and it's a picture of Fernando Alonso, and then it's how Fernando Alonso is driving this season, and it's a picture of Lance Stroll.
Honestly, yeah, but also I think Fernando's just had some bad luck.
He's had that poor guy. To quote him, "I am the unluckiest driver in the fucking world," was a quote from this weekend. We'll get to why he said that later.
Do you want to know what qualifying felt like for Ferrari? We all know and love, maybe not love, begrudgingly love the meme of the Italian man in Ferrari gear loading a gun with pasta.
Penne pasta
specifically.
Yeah.
Except now it's been taken over by HP, and he's trying to, use the gun because Ferrari did a Ferrari thing, but it's just clicking, like it's not working. And then there's an error message that says cartridge cannot be used because gun is intended to work only with genuine HP cartridges. That's what Q2 felt like as a Ferrari fan.
Ferrari is doing so good right now. They need to take it back now, y'all.
No, for real. I genuinely, I think the only thing that didn't prevented me from, completely losing it was the fact that both Williams made it to Q3 again.
Williams!
They are having a ball, and I'm so happy about it.
Oh, hey, we had an experience with Williams this week.
So
y'all want to hear something so funny? In one of our recent episodes, Sydney talked about the virtual meet and greet Q&A thing with Alex and Carlos, and they sent her the email after. So this time we both enter again. We both won. We both were like, yes. It was at 6:40 in the morning our time, but we were like, you know what? This is going to be so much fun.
Because they sent the email on Wednesday. We got it early enough.
And they told us the time.
And the date.
Yeah.
That was the thing. The email from the one that I won and got the email after the event, there was no date in the email.
Oh, yeah. They gave us like 2 days in advance.
Yeah.
So we log on. We're ready for this. It's not working. Like, at all. Like, it keeps glitching. You can't join. Me and Sydney are on FaceTime. Like, is this happening for you too? And she's like, yeah. And for, I don't know, how long would you say the whole thing was? Like maybe 30 minutes?
If that.
For the first 20 minutes, no one could get in. And it wasn't just us. We looked this up. Other people couldn't get in either. We finally hop in. Carlos is over. Carlos's turn is over.
I don't even know if I don't think they had Carlos. I think there were just technical difficulties all around, and they just skipped this.
Yeah, no one saw Carlos.
The world will never know because he wasn't there. It was just Alex.
He wasn't there. And so then Alex was going for a few minutes, and that was it. I mean,
it was neat to, I guess, say we won, we attended. Like, I think it's a cool way for Williams to kind of, I guess, get more fan involvement. But
it didn't feel like we were involved.
No.
And it didn't.
It felt
like they didn't want us
clunky,
to be involved.
It was rushed.
Yeah.
There were so many technical issues. You could chat with a live agent.
And they didn't say anything.
They got back with Hannah after the event had ended.
An hour after the event ended. It was like, hey, chat with live support if you're having issues. And I sent a few messages. And the last one I sent was literally, hello, ?
Yeah.
Event ends. An hour later. Hey, this is so-and-so with Williams. How can I saw you're having trouble.
Yeah. It was one of those, I feel like we can't be too mad. Like, I'm not mad about it, right? I just feel more so almost kind of disappointed and just, or maybe underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I just feel underwhelmed by the whole thing to have I won. And then it to be what it was.
It's giving the Million Lives Book Festival. Like, they expected it to be great. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh my god, wait, I have to tell you about that. It'll be short, I promise. But you need to hear this too. So there's this book festival that just happened called A Million Lives, and it was like a weekend thing. You'd buy tickets, and there was a bunch of different book authors there and vendors, and like this whole thing. And then that one of the nights, there's like a ball, and it's really cool.
Oh, was it the pictures of the ball?
Yeah. So
okay, I saw this.
So there were like not even chairs for the authors, and so there was like an author like questionnaire thing, and there's a picture of them sitting on the floor. The ball was like nothing. The DJ for the ball was a JBL speaker on a chair.
Hilarious.
It was bad. So
it's giving that.
It's giving
on a smaller scale.
It's giving that because it's like they wanted to do this great thing that had a lot of potential, and this has happened multiple times now. Like they need to like put more thought and execution into it for like because it's one thing. I understand that they're trying, but at the same time, like it is a huge letdown for fans, and it's such an inconvenience. And like not even like we woke up at 6:30 for this actually before. And for that to not work, it was almost like negative points towards Williams. You know, it wasn't like 0 because they did a good job. It's like negative.
And I will say, I feel, we didn't necessarily give them feedback, right? But I think there were people that did, because I mean, it was already a night and day difference between the first time I won and the hot mess and a half that was, and this time.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of, if it's something that they're going to continue doing, I'd hope that they, either, I get that it's a thing where they can add a whole bunch of people and this and that, but adding a whole bunch of people only works if their servers and feed can handle it.
Exactly.
Adding a whole bunch of, and it just, the technical difficulties. I mean, they were showing that video beforehand, and then it lagged and mine paused and it kicked me out, and then I couldn't get back in for a minute. It was troublesome, and to have to deal with that before my coffee kicked in.
Yeah. Well, also like if it's part of like, if we can do our part to make Williams have better fan experiences, I'm happy to help with that. But I just wished going into it we would like know that they were kind of test running these things as opposed to being like, oh, this is like a legit thing that they're doing, Yeah. But shall we move to the race?
I think we shall. Race. Yeah, because the race was so much better for Ferrari.
It was.
God bless America. Or the Italians. All of the above?
God bless the Italian Americans.
God bless the Italian.
Sorry. I just have like a couple things that I wanted to add in here. The commentators for F1 TV were on something. They had the best and honestly the most unhinged comments. I have just a few that I would like to share with the class.
Please do, because they were funny.
They're funny. So the first one, unfortunately, Fernando Alonso's tires immediately after getting them changed, the front two caught on fire.
His brakes caught on. They got too hot.
Yeah,
so his brakes were on
and
fire.
so the left one catches on fire first, but then like a few seconds later, the right one does. And so it's crazy. And the F1 commentators, they're watching this, and they say, oh, the front right tire said, don't forget me, I'm hot too. And I'm like,
we just started giggling.
We're like, did they just say that? Anyways, next, Leclerc at some point in the race passed Ollie Behrman, and Ollie didn't put up a huge fight because it was a DRS zone. Like, it was kind of like, there was like really not, like, there wasn't much defense he could do. He was going to get past. So he didn't, I don't want to say he let it happen, but he didn't, like, he was smart and didn't jeopardize both of their races by fighting too hard on it, right? And the commentators watch this and they go, oh, that was very polite of him to let Charles Leclerc through.
Yeah.
And then another one. So Alex Albon was doing pretty good for a minute because of all of the pit stops and things like that. Alex was in like P4 and P5 for a minute.
For a hot
second.
He was a podium contender. Which is a sentence I did not hear or think I would ever say about Williams.
Nope.
Even as like recently as the first race.
Exactly. And so with that, so Oscar Piastri actually kind of pulled a Max Verstappen this week. So he went like way down because of his tire strategy, but then like he was just passing. He went way back up, right? And so eventually he passes Alex, and the commentator I'm going to try to do this in like the same like kind of voice and enthusiasm that the commentator did. Alex Albon has not been on the podium in 5 years, and Oscar Piastri has taken that dream away. Like, they were acting like it was like, oh my god, he's on the podium, and then like, oh, just kidding, you thought.
LOL.
That's so funny that you thought a Williams could be on podium. I know that we gave you every indication that they could, but like, no, good try.
Yeah.
And then finally, after the race, they were interviewing Oscar, asking post-race questions, whatever. And towards the end, the guy goes, "You smell fantastic. Not sure what McLaren cologne you're wearing, but you smell fantastic."
I forgot about that one.
And Oscar just kind of like looks at him and walks away because he was already walking away.
What do you say to that?
Like, I can't tell. Like, he sounded serious. Like, he sounded like Oscar really did smell good, but also he did just get out of the car. It's hot. So I wonder if like, was it just really intense and dedicated sarcasm?
Yeah, or was
Maybe
it
they just spray down.
Someone's job is to give him, somebody's job is to give Charles all of his watches and bracelets after a race. Maybe it's
freshen
somebody's job of like
because I bet those men reek getting out of the car.
Oh, especially after some of those Singapore, them boys are stanky.
I bet they were
stanky,
musky as hell.
Like, could do the stankiest of legs.
Yeah, those legs be stanky. Yeah, so that was just some of the commentary that I thought was really lovely.
There were some funny ones, but no, we have talked a lot about Williams, but I think I really just want to just nail this point home, because not even as recently as last season, it was a good race for Williams if both cars just finished the race.
Yeah,
I mean,
especially with Logan Sargent,
like P15 to 20 in a DNF.
Yep,
that was there and has been the normal for the last several seasons. Maybe not so much at the end of last season with Alex and Franco both in the car.
Rest in peace, Logan Sargent.
Rest in peace, Logan Sargent.
I mean, respectfully, like,
he wasn't great.
It was warranted, but like, I miss him.
But I liked Logan as a person.
Yeah.
He was a redeeming quality for men named Logan.
Yes, he was. Nice.
Thank you.
But like, I mean, from what it seems like, remember how like 2 seasons ago McLaren was like lucky if they both finished the race? The rate at which they're improving reminds me of McLaren, and it's giving me a lot of delusional hope that next season they're going to be like a force to be reckoned with.
Honestly, I think even this season, something weird enough happens.
We might get a podium.
That would be the greatest day ever. A Williams on Alex or Carlos, honestly. Because I have loved Alex since I met that man at Home Depot in Pflugerville. Like, and I think because it was such a weird interaction, I feel this weird, like, emotional attachment to him as a driver.
Y'all bonded that day.
We did. It
was a soul tie.
It was a soul tie. I am soul tied with Alex Albon.
Yep, every time.
But it just, I mean, like, they have 50, I think, after this race. So they both finished in the points. I think Alex ended up, was it P5?
P6, I think.
5 or 6. Really well. Carlos finished in the points too.
They both finished in the points.
So they're 5th in the constructors right now. So they are crazy. Best of the rest right now by 31 points. The next closest is Haas with 20.
But you know who they're right behind?
Ferrari. But I will say Ferrari did a lot of they're only 20, 19.
Are you trying to do math again?
I am trying to do math.
Oh, honey.
I know. Less than 20 points behind Red Bull. So Red Bull has 131, Ferrari has 114. So I do think, Ferrari could maybe get their shit together. That would be really cool, guys. But I mean, like, shout out to Williams, because they have struggle bust for many a years.
Yeah, they have.
But it has been so fun to see them start to have success again. And I feel like it's been a while since you had, maybe not. So I guess Aston was having a really good best of rest kind of seasons. Maybe not so much last season, but the one before it.
Yeah, they were doing pretty good for a minute there.
But it's just, I would love to, I cannot wait to see their progression. And I really hope it's progression as the
Yeah.
season goes on.
I think Carlos had a point. He said that he saw the potential, and I know
Yeah.
that that's a smart man.
I'm
even though
sorry for doubting you,
I'm sorry
Carlos.
for doubting you. I
Because
love
we did.
you.
We sure did.
Yeah, exactly. But even when he said that, like, I tried to trust the process, and then the preseason stuff was happening, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't have trusted the process, but now
Yeah.
I think it's fine. So we'll see.
It's just, it was really, really cool. And it just has been so fun to see Williams start to succeed because they're definitely my second favorite team behind Ferrari.
Yeah, they're pretty darn good. I like Oscar as a person, but like McLaren is not one of my top 3 teams.
I would agree with you there.
I think my top 3 are Ferrari, Williams, and actually, who is my third favorite? Maybe Mercedes.
I think I'd probably go Mercedes. I think the third could probably switch.
It fluctuates depending on the week.
Sometimes, honestly, it is McLaren. Sometimes it's Mercedes. But definitely, sometimes it's Haas, honestly.
Oh, yeah, with Ollie? Let's go.
Love, yeah.
Speaking of another Haas, there was a moment, and I'm so proud of this moment, guys. I have to share it with you.
It was hilarious.
If you follow us on our Instagram, you saw it. But Esteban just had an engine issue. He shut off and he pulled into the grass, and he was kind of he was parallel with the track. It looked like he just kind of pulled over.
Like you're going, concert's full, you're pulling off onto the side of the road.
Yeah.
Or concert's full, parking lot's full.
For the concert.
Right. You know where I was going.
I didn't even question it until you
I was on the right track. I just missed. My brain skipped a couple of words.
I actually did not even think twice about it until you were like, concerts full. I mean, parking lot. I'm like, oh, well, I get it.
Nonetheless,
same brain
man pulled over into the grass very politely.
Yes. And I go, hey, man, you can't park there. And I swear Sydney snorted.
I think I probably did.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those just instant, the brain rot, just trigger moment of, hey, you can't park there.
Yeah.
And it was
thank you, internet.
So funny. So I snapped a picture of him pulled over and put it on our Instagram. And,
and then
one moment of that would have been funny enough. If I had a nickel for every time a driver pulled off politely into the grass because they had an engine failure in the Imola 2025 Imola Grand Prix, I'd have 2 nickels.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Right?
Wait, not the Imola Grand Prix, the Formula 1 AWS Gran Premio del Made in Italy dell'Emilia-Romagna in 2025.
You're right. My apologies.
Yeah, Imola's a bit of a mouthful.
It is. Yes, it is. So. But yeah, so then, you have Esteban. You can't park there. And then poor old Kimmy.
I know. His class was there.
He
didn't deserve that.
And then I saw another even more just kind of gut-wrenching thing of that might have been his only home Grand Prix. Because I guess technically Monza might become his home Grand Prix because it is in Italy. But that truly was his home Grand Prix.
And to DNF.
And not know whether we're ever going to get Imola again. I bet we'll get it again, but it may not be for a while. It sounds like if rumors are to be believed.
Stupid. But
hey, you can't park there.
Hey, man, you can't park there. With that, because of those, there were a couple of safety cars. There was a virtual and a normal one, even though they looked like they were in the exact same spot. I'm not judging. I am.
I don't think they were, but it very much looked like they were identical.
But because of that, there was some very interesting things happening with pit stops and tire strategy. So this was planned to be a one-stop race.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how they thought that was going to happen because almost everyone by the end had done 2. Although I will say that's probably because of the safety cars.
It's definitely because of the safety cars.
But this is a perfect example of a race that shows just how important fresh tires are. Because I've always known that, and I've seen it in a couple other races in the past, but this one, you can see it in their performance and in the gaps between each driver. You can see literally lap by lap how much a pair of fresh tires can help. So Charles Leclerc, another poor Ferrari moment. He pitted and then the safety car happened.
Yeah, they pitted him pretty early, but honestly it didn't turn out because they pitted him early.
Yeah.
Which it was one of those, they had to try something.
They did.
Imola typically is a it's a historic track, but in the modern Formula 1 cars, the cars are too big. It's usually hard. There's kind of only a couple sweet spots where you can get overtakes. And so it's hard to really kind of do anything. And so you really kind of have to rely on your strategy or a weird strategy kind of hope something happens.
Yeah.
And it did. And so
At the
it
wrong
was one of
time.
those. But the thing was, even with the VSC, that middle stint after it, because it was, the race start happened, there wasn't really a whole lot. Esteban had his failure. Then there was kind of some jostling and some weirdness with the virtual safety car. Then there was a little bit of a break. Kimmy happened. Again, some more stuff happened. And so, it really did kind of revitalize and just kind of breathe life into the race a little bit.
It did.
And
we had
it didn't turn out to be a bad thing that they pitted Charles so early.
No, it didn't. They ended up okay, but there was two. There was Charles that happened to and Oscar.
Yeah.
And that happened to Oscar. He pitted right before the other virtual safety car, and that was his race. That threw his race is what I'm trying to say.
I think he would have, especially in the McLaren, I think he would have had a shot to overtake Max again.
Yeah,
because
he didn't.
I don't know that we've mentioned it. So Oscar put it on pole. Max was P2. It was one of kind of those rare times where Max didn't steal pole from Oscar. And Max had the cleanest and just most pro move overtake on turn 1 on Oscar. And it was just one of those, I think, Oscar Max fan or no, it was
clean.
Damn, it was a good move.
Well, I think it's so funny that on turn 1 of pretty much every race, I feel like this season we've had Max Verstappen versus a McLaren.
Yeah.
But I want to say with the pit stop thing, Charles Leclerc he was sassy on the radio this weekend. He
honestly
warranted. He had a lot of anger pent up. Like Fernando Alonso with I'm the unluckiest driver in the fucking world.
He kind of
is. Charles said, "This is unbelievable. All the time I get fucked with these virtual safety cars," and he was pissed. And then after the race, his race engineer was like, "We're figuring out blah 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 because of the whatever situation, the passing situation with Albon," and he was like, "You told me to let him pass."
Yeah,
which it was the smart move for them to do, but it was
just there was a
race.
moment where did I think a Williams and a Ferrari would be actively battling and it'd be a really good battle in the year 2025?
No.
Not really, but it happened and it was good. And honestly, Alex is lucky he didn't put it at the wall. He went off into the gravel and somehow saved it. But because of that, Charles was able to overtake. And there was debate on, did he leave him enough space? Because you're supposed to. And so Charles was ahead, and they were afraid that if they didn't give the position back,
he'd get a penalty.
And honestly,
that was a smart move.
I think he would have gotten a penalty.
I think he would have too,
because he gave it back. Yeah, that's the thing with Charles Leclerc's luck, he would have gotten a penalty. And at that point, because of the safety car, their cars were so close in time.
There's no
that
way
I think it would have pushed him out of the points.
It might have at that point.
It was right on that margin.
Yeah.
And so after they had let Alex through, then it comes up no further investigation. And I honestly think it's because they gave the position back.
I think it is. I think they're like, yeah, that's fair.
But I totally get Charles's frustration with it. Because what do you mean you overtook somebody and now you're just and it be a rival team that you're having to give the position back to?
Exactly. I did want to point out, funny coincidence. Remember how a couple races ago there was that sprint race and I didn't wear my Oscar Piastri bracelet and he lost, and then the race before that I wore it when I slept and he won?
Yeah.
I forgot to wear my Oscar Piastri bracelet again this weekend. And he started P1 ended P3. So I think I have a soul tie with Oscar.
You might, but I almost want to ask you not to wear it so that Charles can win Monaco. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not.
Why don't we see how qualifying goes?
Let me show you this. So it was somebody, I saw it on Twitter. It was somebody texting, I think, their dad about the race. And the dad says, Leclerc has to win Monaco. And then the other person, you're that confident? And then the dad in succession, not confident, only mania. Otherwise, we burn Maranello. And the French guy talking about Fred. I was like, no, oh my God.
Oh gosh.
Maybe not Fred, but, well, and maybe not the factory, but I get it. But my favorite part of it was not confident, only mania.
Yeah.
We've gone so far past delusion, we're in mania.
Yeah.
But, yeah. it just, regardless of what happens this year, at least we have Monaco of 2024.
I was gonna say we have that at the very least.
That was one of the greatest days, the greatest races.
It was also my birthday.
It was also, yeah. I remember my dad was in town that weekend, and it and the Indy 500 were on the same day. And so it was just a day of motorsport for me and my dad. And it was really fun because he was asking questions. I was answering. We were kind of going through stuff. It was just one of those fun little moments. And, and then Charles Leclerc won, and I'm pretty sure I cried.
Yeah.
Actually, I did cry.
Yeah, I know that. You sent me a picture, I think. Or we FaceTimed or something.
Maybe something along those lines.
We FaceTimed. That's what it was.
Yeah, because I think y'all were out of town.
Yeah, we were at Paladuro Canyon.
Yeah.
Pablo Duro.
I
love that. I did want to mention one other thing. Can someone tell me why Max Verstappen got driver of the day?
Oh my god, that was literally my last note is the hell have been these driver of the day votes this season.
What? Like he got into P1 on corner 1 and he just ran with a clean air the whole time.
And the thing is, started P2, ended P1. Sometimes you might deserve driver of the day if some weird as hell shit happened and then you really have to fight back for that P1. No. The only time he was never in first was during the safety cars. And the first yes.
Corner of the lap.
He did, it's one of those. Either of the Ferraris deserved it over him because both cars started out of the points, finished in the points.
I think that's fair.
There were so many other drivers that should have gotten driver of the day. And that's not the first time it's happened this season.
Who's the other one?
I think Lewis got driver of the day that he really shouldn't have gotten.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
There just have been several where it's just it's like we're just giving it not even the easy vote because some of these races have had an easy driver that you should have given driver of the day to.
And it's not like this race didn't have interesting things happen for a driver of the day. It's not like it was a boring race where it was like no one did anything.
Like yes, there were some lulls, but that's most F1 races these days. There's, bits and pieces of stuff that happened, but there have been times where I'm like, yes, Max should have gotten driver of the day. His run in, Brazil when he went from 17 to and then won the race.
He deserved driver of
honestly
the month.
For real, employee of the month. But it just, I think I'd be more pressed about it than I am right now if it was still worth points.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I think it is an F1 fantasy, but
it is, but not like in the actual competition. Yeah.
It just vote better. Yeah. Yes, Hannah's raising her hand.
I moved up a spot in our fantasy league.
I have not looked at it in weeks.
I am now P3.
Oh, I think I was P3 there for a while.
No, that was my coworker because I screenshot it today and I sent it to him and I said something.
Maybe it's the other league.
We can check after this.
I don't know. I never remember my password. The amount of times I have changed my F1 fantasy password.
Mine's always the same. It's like Hulu and stuff that I change on a regular basis.
Well, I don't change it on purpose.
It's because you forget, yes.
I change it because I forget.
Same. It's always like the ones that I've changed more than once. But F1 I've never had to.
And it's only because they're characters that you're allowed to use. The one that I use in my password usually is not one that is allowed in their passwords. And so I forget that.
That's stupid.
And then I lock myself out. And it's like, hey, change your password.
Yeah.
You dumb nut.
It's always ones that require more characters than normal.
Yeah.
So,
but anyways. Congrats
diva.
on being P3 right now.
Thank you. I have a diva of the day.
Okay.
But I'd like to hear yours first, if you have one. If not, I'm happy to go first.
Ooh. No, you go first because I got to think about it. I always forget to think about it before you bring it up.
That's fair. And I really should ask you beforehand, before we start these, to think of one. My diva of the day is the F1 TV announcers.
Honestly, valid.
They went crazy. And I think the icing on the cake was the "you smell so good. You smell incredible."
Out of pocket.
Who says that?
And it was hilarious.
Not even just move the mic aside, oh my God, you smell good.
No, just
you smell great.
Not even national television. International television.
International. And this isn't Oscar got P3. This isn't post race of all of the other drivers below. This is the ones that show right after the race. They start with P3.
Yes. Yes.
The first interview
It was crazy.
after the checkered flag.
Yeah. I think my driver of the
Diva
of the day.
My driver of the day was Max Verstappen.
Is going to go to Lewis and Charles, but specifically during the drivers' parade. I don't know if you've seen clips from it or there's been a couple of like still images. So it was the standard. All of the drivers are on one of the like paddock tractors, and you know, there's a couple of levels to it. There's like the main standing, and then I think there's a portion that's slightly lower down a step, and I think that's typically where some of the cameramen go.
Yeah.
Every single driver except Charles and Lewis are on the main part, just all congregating like they do, because they all just yap with each other when they're all together.
They just hang out.
There's this picture, and it is quite literally all of the drivers on kind of the middle to left side. In the far right corner, down the step, are Charles and Lewis just so close to one another, just like yapping. And people have been quoting that tweet and that picture, and just strategy so bad. They're just
coming up with their own.
God, this strategy is just shit. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, what do you want to do? Like, let's just come up with our own. Like, this is we're just, and it just
let's have an alliance here.
It was just funny to think about them conspiring against their own team to make their lives better.
It wouldn't be out of the question,
right? And so it just felt maybe not super diva-y, but I think it might be a little diva-y, because when you I'll have to show you the picture, because it was so funny.
I love it.
But yeah, no, I was genuinely rewind. Genuinely, I thought this race weekend was pretty solid.
I loved it. It was fun.
You know,
it was a great race weekend.
Wasn't the most exciting, but wasn't boring.
No, not boring at all.
It was a good race weekend.
There was lots to talk about.
Yeah.
This is a great race for F1 fans that are like really into like the strategy of things.
Yeah, it truly did. I mean, I think you kind of said it earlier, it was the epitome of how safety cars instantly change strategy.
Yeah, well, that and also just like the tires, how it affects the performance of a car, like actually like on the ground.
No, so it was a solid race. I loved it. This week will be interesting.
It will. I'm excited about it.
Good old Monaco. I do love Monaco.
It's a great track. It sucks that you can't really overtake on it anymore because the cars are too big, but it's one of those that is good in spirit.
Yeah, and even with the lack of overtakes, there still, I feel, has been enough action in the last several Monaco races.
Mainly because of crashes.
Well, mainly because of crashes. But, yeah, because what was it? Last year you had Checo, you had that big old crash. You had the Alpines taking each other out.
That one was funny.
That was when, I think, Esteban rear-ended Pierre, and he went flying. Like, the whole rear end of the car was up in the air. It was a good race.
It was a good race. It'll be good this week, and I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. Really delusional about Ferrari's chances, but you know, what's new?
I think they're gonna take it all.
I think we have no point but to be delusional.
Yeah. The light is still on.
The light is still on.
So,
you know, it might be dimming, but you know, it wouldn't be. We wouldn't be true fans if we didn't stick with our team through, you know, the constant up and downs.
Correct.
We're just on a really
long down.
Really long down.
Yeah.
We came up a little bit. I will say I was definitely pleasantly surprised with how they finished after qualifying.
In the cycle we're in, we are back.
We're
not so back.
We're definitely not so back.
But we were so it was so over, and then we're back.
We're somewhere in between. We're back and it's so over.
We're making the rounds.
You know, as one does as a Ferrari fan.
Yeah, let's see how long the next cycle lasts.
Yeah, the horse is thinking about coming back to the logo.
Yeah, it's thinking about it. I love that picture.
That meme is so funny. It is. Season so bad the horse left.
It's not even that. It's that, and then there's the picture of the horse on the porch that's like
just dejected,
not happy,
sad.
Yeah,
but you know,
the horse is feeling very BoJack Horseman right now.
You win some, you lose most.
He's gonna do some.
Man, Ferrari's been losing most right now.
He's gonna, you know, just to make it through the day. That's BoJack Horseman. Do you watch that show?
No.
It's a cartoon horse, and he does drugs and stuff. And he's really depressed.
What a wow. You know,
Yeah.
that is kind of Ferrari fans. Probably is maybe BoJack Horseman is the horse from the Ferrari logo.
I really think it is right now. I'll have to show you that at some
Okay.
point. It's funny.
I believe you.
Also kind of depressing.
Yeah,
just
anyways,
like being
a Ferrari fan. It's so fun, guys. Come join the club.
Yay.
Forza Ferrari. Oh, sorry, I was disassociating.
That's okay. It was only like a second that
Hannah went in for a high five, and I was staring off into space.
That's okay.
You know.
Yeah.
But anyways,
we've had a lot of high fives this podcast.
We have a lot of high fives, a couple of Italian mannerisms.
More like only one that you did.
All right.
And it was not the greatest.
All
but
right.
you know what? It's okay. I still love you.
Again, I'm not as much Italian as you are, but
you're still Italian.
I'm still. But again, my mom's maiden name's Primavera.
Mm-hmm.
That side of the family, Thanksgiving, it's not like there's a whole turkey. There's the smallest plate of turkey you could ever imagine. The rest is all homemade pasta.
Yeah, we don't. At least for Christmas, we don't have anything like that.
We go hard.
We only have Italian.
Also,
food.
You never know fear, like getting the closing of the ravioli job, because if you do that job poorly,
it's a disaster.
And they bust open in the pot,
Chaos.
It's your fault.
It is your fault, and you've ruined Thanksgiving and Christmas. I only had one split open. A win is a win. A win is a win.
My mom was like, "I'm not doing it."
She's like, "I've been there before."
She's like, "I have been there, done that. I'm not doing it."
Yeah.
Anyways, there's your insight into my family's Thanksgiving festivities, and our take on Imola.
Yeah,
it was a good one.
We'll see you next week in Monaco.
Yeah, see you next week in Monaco.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Sydney.
And it's lights out, and away we go. All right.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.